necessary for Freddie Gibbs.
What's up with you and Freddie Gibbs, man? I thought y'all was homies. Y'all went on tour and all this.
Really ain't nothing up, you know what I mean? Like I don't get too like into like rap relationships with, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it don't be real. You feel what I'm saying? And so like I guess that put a tweet up or some weird, you know.
It's hard. It be hard for me to listen to nigga after they got robbed. They be rapping. They be rapping so gangsta after the fact. Damn. Guess you talking about Benny there.
I didn't know anything about Benny the Butcher. I didn't know he lived in Buffalo. I didn't know Freddie didn't like him. Nobody filled me in on him knowing all of this stuff, like this beef that he had. He could have ordered Uber Eats. He could have kept me in the room. There were so many other things he could have done. I literally have brisket hanging out of my mouth, and like 20 dudes turn the corner and walk toward us. They have bricks in their hands. Freddie's like, hey man, I got my girl here, like we don't gotta do this. And they showing no mercy. All of a sudden I just look up and Freddie is backed into a wall. And they snatched my right off. They took his watch.
Over the course of his career, it's been well known that Freddie Gibbs has always had a flair for comedy. Having appeared in episodes of Odd Future's Loiter Squad TV, as well as being a menace to society on Instagram and Twitter, Freddie was once seen as hip-hop's most masterful troll. At one time, Freddie had complete control over all his conflicts, like his 2020 feud with DJ Academics. The situation escalated when Act tried to diminish Gibbs' wealth and status in the industry on Everyday Struggle. But before long, Freddie retaliated with such hilarious comebacks that
Bitch, you built like a Teletubby. Nah, Freddie Gibbs, he wildin'.
Act himself had to give credit where credit was due and acknowledge the L he took.
I had just moved into my crib, 8,000 square feet. I'm like, yo, bro, I guarantee my crib bigger than your whole situation. So I'm talking, I'm like, yo, post your tax returns. I show the whole world how broke you rappers are and what's really going on. And he was just like, yo, listen, man, you look like this little Teletubby in this meme I'm gonna post. And everybody's like, that's way funny. And I'm like,
but somewhere that following year,
even Academics thinking that was funny too.
Freddie seemed to buy into his own fans' reverence for him to the point that he thought he could glide past anyone with the same ease as he did with Academics. Aware that he has a fan base that has come to expect comical commentary from him, Freddie began to indulge in pettiness, and soon his mouth would catch up to him not once, but twice, diminishing his Vice Lord image in the process. First off, there was his ill-fated trip to Prime 112 in Miami. There, he ran into Dipset's Jim Jones, and after apparently slandering Capo in the past,
Jim Jones throw up the VA vampire shit. I ain't with it, man.
His gangster image would take his first major blow when he reportedly came out on the losing end of a fight between the two. And depending on who you ask, Freddie was allegedly slid across a table by his shirt and boxers. Ever since it took place, Freddie has tried to downplay the fight, telling the Breakfast Club that it was
some furniture moving, but it was like a food fight or something like that. Ain't nobody get up to that point, you know.
In response, Jim Jones threatened to leak video of the incident after Freddie claimed he escaped unharmed. Prime footage loading, LOL. Should I be petty or keep it player? Cause this nasty is all I'm saying, LOL. Later, Jim reverted to being dismissive of Freddie's existence, even claiming that he didn't know who he was during an interview on Hot 97. But above all, he was confused as to why Freddie had come for him in the first place.
In the past, he may have said some things that were not the nicest things that you would say about a person. I'm like, why would he talk about me like that? Like, I'm like the most lovable person out of everybody. I'm a friendly guy. I never did anything to this man. This is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't remember being in any restaurant and a fight broke out.
Just as Jim Jones was baffled by Freddie's attempts to throw shade at him, it was this same sort of carelessness which has fueled the beef between Freddie and Benny the Butcher. Two artists who've collaborated with one another on several tracks, Freddie and Benny were initially on good terms, and as far as the Black Soprano family leader was aware, that was still the case. Until, following Benny being shot in Houston, it was Freddie's infamous Twitter that would cause an unexpected rift after he tweeted about him.
I don't even think it started on the song. I think it started on Twitter. There's two posts that he put up. Well, there's one he made that nobody even noticed, because nobody noticed until I said something about it. He said something about what happened in Houston first. I was kind of taken aback. Bro, I never said nothing about it, so nobody else never said nothing about it. Right. To be honest with you, it was a surprise, but it was like, I don't know that, obviously. I wouldn't be doing that. You gotta know, like, you did something wrong. You didn't do that. We going on tour together, he could have lost his life. My mom could have lost her son. Making light on that for some white kids on Twitter.
Sure enough, Freddie would find out the consequences when he came to Benny's home city of Buffalo. Once he ventured there on tour, an ill-advised visit to a BBQ joint saw Freddie assaulted and relieved of his watch, with Freddie barely managing to hold on to his chain. In the process, he'd be mocked online by Benny the Butcher, who claimed that he'd been getting run up on all year without a gun. But we'll get back to how that has directly impacted his life shortly. While Gibbs proclaimed that he was so far removed from that book in the streets and that he was about to be an esteemed actor and a mogul, Freddie refused to acknowledge that he'd maybe brought the situation upon himself. Instead, he'd simply say, "To me, those guys are like comedy. I make jokes of these guys like that." Unfortunately, Freddie's outlook jeopardized his ties with other MCs, with Griselda's Conway the Machine admitting that, "I wish that stuff never happened. I would love to squash that," before acknowledging that he'd ultimately ride for his cousin Benny. Around that point is when Freddie began to take some serious losses, as once it's clear that you aren't really eager to engage in violence and that there are no repercussions for assaulting you in the way that Benny did, others who you've had issues with will swoop in. Not least of all, DJ Academics. Last year, he dedicated an entire episode of his Off the Record podcast to defaming Freddie, claiming that despite what he says, his image is anything but authentic.
This guy is definitely one of the biggest frauds. If you hear his music, you would think that this guy has 100 bodies. He's moved thousands of kilos of coke, meth. He's the biggest drug dealer since Pablo Escobar, but such is the case with many of your favorite rappers who are portraying and lying to you about who they really are. There's still a few fake gangsters, basically civilians, who are portraying to be gangsters, and we got one today to expose is Freddie. His father's a police officer. I just want to paint the irony of this whole thing. A kid who grew up playing with his father's badge, handcuffs, police uniform, and gun, and also took allowance that came from his father's police salary, said, "What should I do with all of these things at my disposal?" He went to a studio to make up a fake persona of being some type of gangster.
At that
Nah, rappers do that though. Some rappers do be doing that. Like they swear, but they be on that and all that shit. But they be talking hot on they songs and all that. But you know that should be front. Some rappers do be fronting. I can't lie to y'all. Do y'all agree? Let me know. Do y'all agree? Some rappers do be fronting.
point, there was every chance that some who weren't convinced of Freddie's street credentials likely wrote him off. But it should be noted that Act's words should be taken with a pinch of salt, considering that he's a longtime nemesis of Gibbs. Nevertheless, what has had a more damaging effect on Gibbs' reputation is that people who were once close to him are starting to speak out and portray him in an unfavorable light. Back on his recent studio album Soul Separately, Gibbs took aim at one of his exes, spitting, "Raven was a rat, she scratched the Benzie and I dropped the charges. That knew she'd never have my heart, so she attacked my pockets." In response, Raven Tatum let the world know her side. But while that post garnered a little traction and had people wondering if he was truly a deadbeat dad, it would be the fallout from his relationship with his baby mama-to-be, Destiny Fox, which let him know what really happens when you face the wrath of a scorned woman. An adult star who Freddie had been with for about 2 years, Destiny got pregnant with Freddie's kid, and according to her, everything was good until they got jumped in Buffalo, New York. Over the course of a lengthy thread, Destiny alleges how she's since been ghosted by Freddie, and in the process, has revealed sensitive details about the rapper's personal life, including the fact that she paid for his phone bill and that she has images of Gangsta Gibbs supposedly spreading his apart for her. Not willing to stop there, Destiny has essentially gone on a whole press run in which she detailed how she was on the front lines for the most turbulent periods of his career that, in her opinion, has been damaging to both his success and mental well-being.
It was like watching the downfall of Freddie Gibbs. When he first contacted me, I didn't know who he was. And then when I met up with him, he built himself up to be like this vice lord, gangster, coke rapper, someone that I could always feel protected with and trust. And then I slowly saw his downfall after we got beat up, and I saw like how that affected him. He even made a comment to me. He was like, "I feel like you don't respect me after what happened in Buffalo." Whenever he would like rep his set, it would make me feel like he knows people that can protect me. When I saw that he wasn't really like that, I was like, oh, this person is not who he says he is. I know how he acts around people. He comes off so funny, right? Some of the funniest people we've ever known have themselves or like been super depressed. Sometimes I feel like Freddie tried to tell us in Triple S in a lot of his songs how he really feels. His fan base didn't even grasp it. Songs like Grandma Stove and stuff kind of made his fans raise an eyebrow. Him talking about how he can't function unless he has a drink or a drug. That's really sad.
Alongside having the audacity to expose him on his arch-enemy Academics channel, her campaign against Gibbs has also seen her provide the details of what went down in Buffalo, and it is a far cry from the image he portrays on the internet.
I didn't know anything about Benny the Butcher. I didn't know he lived in Buffalo. I didn't know Freddie didn't like him. I didn't know he didn't like Freddie. Nobody filled me in on. So we get in Buffalo, and I'm like, damn, I'm kind of hungry. And Freddie's like, yeah, we should go get some food. We went to this place called Dinosaur Barbecue. Not only did we go to eat at a restaurant publicly, him knowing all of this stuff, like this beef that he had, he could have ordered Uber Eats. He could have kept me in the room. There were so many other things he could have done.
Yeah, that's a fact. He could have did that, but like I'm guessing Freddie, he wanted, yeah, he could have did that. Could have been smart about his shit.
We're sitting outside, and we did have our security with us, but they didn't do. I'm thinking it's all luck.
Nah, bro. You have security and they didn't do shit, bro. Like, come on, like. Security's supposed to do that. That's their job. They supposed to protect you. Like, if I was him, if I was Freddie, if that did happen, if I was Freddie, I would fire them. No funny shit.
I literally have brisket hanging out of my mouth, and like 20 dudes turn the corner and walk toward us. They have bricks in their hands. Freddie's like, hey man, I got my girl here, like we don't gotta do this. And they showing no mercy. They are full-fledged, like they want the smoke. I'm standing next to Freddie. I'm not moving because I'm trying to hold it down. Never again. All of a sudden, I just look up and Freddie is backed into a wall. And they snatched my right off. They took his watch. They got his watch.
Whether inspired by cockiness or sheer stupidity, it's clear that the incident at the Dinosaur BBQ had a knock-on effect on his life. From claiming he finessed her for a joint comedy show, to her claims that he is basically reliant on drugs and alcohol, the image of Freddie, the self-assured vice lord, is being dismantled before our eyes. But in typical Freddie fashion, he's tried to downplay the incident, tweeting, "I ain't got no phone," and claiming that, "Gotta respect the hoe that eat you got it out the mud butt." While no one is claiming that Freddie's career is over, or that his fans who are always eager to hear his consistently entertaining music will suddenly evaporate, there's no denying that this marks a new period of vulnerability for Freddie. As where he was previously seen as impervious to anything anyone could throw his way, he's now reached a point where Academics, who was previously clowned for trying to come at Gibbs, definitively has the upper hand and is relishing every second of it.
Freddie, what you didn't know and you're gonna hear her admit is that when she hit me up, your child was already 2 months cooking in that belly. When she appeared on Adam 22 Plug Talk, your child was a little bit more than baby batter at that point. That's Freddie Jr. in that gut. She wanted to link with me. This might sound crazy, but I hope you understand the grace I have extended you. I bought a stethoscope off Amazon. I was gonna have a stethoscope in my ear and have the joint on her gut. And I was gonna try to talk to your baby. Tell him, hey Freddie Jr., your father's in the real world. He's a...
Oh nah, he violated, bro. You gonna tell that baby boy, his son, that he's a bitch? But yo,
He just got beat up by Benny the Butcher, by Jim Jones. He's getting clowned by Academics every day. So I know y'all gonna say, this is too far, this is evil. Remember, he said he couldn't wait till
Dealt a bad hand that was of his own creation in more ways than one, Freddie may be experiencing his greatest success career-wise, but is learning firsthand that the old hip-hop fable of more money, more problems.
Okay, that's the vid. So yeah, bro, let me know what y'all think, bro, about Freddie Gibbs, bro. If y'all listen to his music, comment down below what is your favorite song of him. And what y'all think about him like being all these controversies? He's getting getting hopped by Jim Jones mans and Freddie Gibbs mans. So yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. We're just checking out you are.